Hi, you are watching Procurement and Supply Chain Live, and this session features Don Perigny, Director, Strategic Procurement and Supply Chain Compliance at Werfen Diagnostics. Now, Don is an experienced global strategic procurement professional with a demonstrated history of working in the medical devices industry. He is a purchasing professional skilled in worldwide supplier management, analytical skills, medical devices, LSS Green Belt certified, and project management certified. Don has been at the company close to 20 years, and in a former life was a professional baseball player with the Chicago White Sox and the Florida Marlin. I think that's correct. So stepping up to the plate for us today, if you like, is Don. Welcome, Don.
Hey, hello there. Thank you for having me today.
You're very welcome. And our friends in the US, please excuse my rather clumsy attempt at a baseball reference there. But Don, over to you for your presentation.
Very good. Excellent. Excited to be here today. I hope everyone's doing well and enjoying the event so far. Hopefully I won't bore you. So here we go. So the goals for today. So what I plan to do is to share some of my techniques and my strategies that I have used throughout the year in the medical device sector. All of our positions are different, right? We buy stuff, we get stuff in when we need it. Quality needs to be there. Keep production lines going. No matter what we do, I mean, we're all very similar in what we do, right? So if you can walk away today with one thing you have learned, I think we can call today a success, right? And in everything we do, we take strategies from this guy, that guy, what you learned in this class or that seminar, and make it work for you. You know, our jobs are complex, right? Every day is different. We work our butts off to not fail, right? Things happen, we figure them out. The world has changed, so have we, right? And I always like to say, if you like to know what you're doing tomorrow, watch the news at 11, right? So it's always changing. So my agenda. So I'm gonna do a quick introduction of who I am, then about my company, Werfen, about my site here in Massachusetts. So I'm coming to you just outside of Boston, about 20 miles outside. Boston's Boston. It's a cold part of the world, but Northeast is where I've always spent my life. How'd we do it in 2020 when the COVID pandemic hit? How'd we do it in 2021 as things changed a lot from 2020 to 2021? Then what do I think we can expect this year and next year? Then just a conclusion. So introduction. So thank you. My name is Don Perigny. I am the Director of Strategic Procurement and Supply Chain Compliance at Werfen Diagnostics. Lucky husband of 29 years, father of 3 boys. And yes, I've been a Werfen employee, formerly known as Instrumentation Laboratories, since 2003. I am a certified project manager out of a college close by called WPI. Lean Six Sigma Green Belts. Lean is something this company is taken very serious, and I am a Green Belt certified specialist, if you will. I'm a graduate from the University of Massachusetts at Lowell, and my responsibilities include all supplier selection, approval, maintenance, purchasing, supply chain compliance. So supply chain compliance meaning all the FDA, ISO, MD, SAP, IVDR regulations, requirements that are important and required, to work in our sector. I also do U.S. government spending reporting, which is just a blast. Werfen Bedford, formerly known as Instrumentation Laboratories, we recently did a brand change and brought together all of our companies into one name under Werfen. No ownership change. We've had the same ownership, strictly a branding change. But so pretty great. Bedford site, roughly 1,000 people. That's where I'm sitting today. Wish I could be there, but I am here in Bedford. And something interesting to note, R&D is roughly 300 people here in Bedford. A little over 300, and that's a whole lot of cats to herd. And for clarifications, thank you for the introduction. It is true, I did play professional baseball in the Chicago White Sox and the Florida Marlin organizations way back in the early 90s. Minor leagues only. So I made hundreds of dollars, not millions. Okay. A lot of good stories, a lot of good experience, taught me a lot about life. And So something great from my past, but I've certainly moved on. Who likes that old life of running around in a baseball uniform and out in the grass all day in the sun? Who wants any of that? So anyhow, so let's talk about Werfen. So Werfen, pretty great company. I am thrilled to be here. Like we said, 19 years I've been here. I live in the great state of New Hampshire, which is roughly an hour north of where I'm sitting right now. It's worth the ride. I've had the same commute for the last 19 years. It is truly a wonderful company. Uh, I can see myself retiring here in another 10 years if all goes well. Werfen in general is a greater than $2 billion company, uh, greater than 5,000 employees worldwide, obviously, headquartered out of Barcelona, Spain. In business since 1966. So we have direct operations in 30 countries with 3 major manufacturing sites here in Bedford, out in San Diego, California, and also in Barcelona outside of the Werfen Tower. There's another site called BioKit, which is a massive building similar to Bedford. Roughly have 66,000 plus analyzers active worldwide doing tests on blood, uh, and approximately 1.2 million tests per day are worldwide using our products. So pretty dynamic, a lot of responsibility behind all that. So about Bedford, so this is the headquarters for what was formerly known as Instrumentation Laboratories. Very large building, 400,000 square feet. There's a picture of our building. I'm coming to you way from down here, and they put me out in that corner and just keep my nose down. Manufacturing R&D facilities, Bedford, Orangeburg, New York. Orangeburg, New York does all of our wet chemistry. We also have a plant in Munich, and we also plant in San Diego. Under this umbrella, 355 operations employees. Now the business lines, this is strictly for Bedford. And these pictures down here of the instruments are Bedford built instruments. So I'm responsible for all the materials going into these instruments here. So when I say acute care are these instruments. Acute care are blood gas analyzers designed to be bedside, emergency room, next to patient type operations. The instrument will take blood from a vial, bring it into the system, and 45 seconds or a minute later, you have full results of everything you were looking to test. So very reliable instruments. They're workhorses, and last year we shipped almost 6,000 of those instruments worldwide. Now, and we are number 2 in the world in that market. The other side, the larger side of our business is the hemostasis side. Hemostasis is your body's ability to clot, and we are number 1 in the world in that sector. And these are the instruments that are doing those tests worldwide. Last year, we shipped almost 2,000 of those instruments. So a whole lot of activity out of Bedford. We grew quite a bit during the pandemic. It was rough getting what we needed to get. Interesting year for sure, and we'll get into that in a minute. As far as cartridges, the cartridges are the consumables that used in the acute care instruments, and all the fluid stays within these cartridges. No fluid actually enters the instruments, it stays within these cartridges. And all those cartridges were also built here in Bedford at almost 700,000 of those cartridges last year. So they're quite large. They're roughly the size of a small toaster, and lots of chemistry in there coming from our Orangeburg site, then all the plastics, and they're all assembled here. So what we procure, so all of our major commodities are listed here. What makes us a little bit different is 95% of what my team buys is custom. So it's not commercially available at all. Everything is custom, from printed circuit boards and single board computers, which is my largest spend. These boards come in fully tested, functionally tested, or ICT tested. I'm buying from the USA, Canada, and Italy for those products. So obviously that's a lot of focus there, and that's where all the stress was, and still is alive and well, getting components for these printed circuit boards. Machining, large spend, metals, plastics, a little bit of everything. We buy from the US, China, and Italy. From plastic molded parts, another big part of my spend. We're buying from the USA, Italy, Spain, and France. We have greater than 450 active tools that I maintain. I'm responsible for all the capital as well. And maintaining these tools is always a challenge. We try to make it simple. We send out a report once a year. What is the tool conditions of the tools I own with my suppliers? We get a report back. Then we can plan for replacements and preventive maintenance and such. Sheet metal, obviously, what everybody knows what sheet metal is. I buy from the US, Italy, and China, depending on what it is. I always match my parts with the supplier. Cable assemblies, huge amount of spend from us. We're buying from the USA, Mexico, and China. When I say cable assemblies, it's not just point to point. It could be a motor that's terminated or sensors that we have to add wires to, and we kind of group those together as cable assemblies. Then packaging, large percent of my spend as well, 5%. That's crates, corrugated boxes, and labels. Being in the medical market, everything has a label, and everything has to be regulatory compliant. And you're telling customers and users how to use your product. So very important. And all of our labels are classified as major or critical components, and they have to be handled as such. You are giving instructions to customers or patients, not patients, but clinicians, on how to use the product. So labeling is hugely important. And we only buy, crates and corrugated boxes from the Boston area. Packaging is very regional. I have some fantastic suppliers that basically here twice a day, every day, delivering coolers for our cartridges and boxes and labels and such. So very active place here in Bedford. As far as my spend, North America is the largest amount of my spend at 83%. Good amount in Europe at 10%. Mexico's 5%. China's just 2%. This is all direct spend. My purchasing team, 40,000 POs issued in 2021. Say, how is that possible? This guy's out of his mind. Well, no. In SAP, we have basically throughout the generations, improved our efficiency on having SAP do more and more for us. So we have Kanban is pretty much how we deal with all these. We place a contract with our suppliers for our parts, and they're on Kanban releases. So every new delivery is a PO off of a contract you placed months before. So it works quite well. We're in the third generation of Kanban now. Are we done? Of course not. You continue to evolve. What's the next best idea? How can we get better? And that's what we're really good at. I have 5 buyers on my team that buy direct materials and 3 buyers that buy indirect for goods and services and from shipping containers or whatever, but 5 and 8. So a very strong team. People that are on my team been here a very long time. We do really well at retaining good talent, and I put my team up against anyone. So I have a fantastic team, and I'm proud of them, and I appreciate them every day. So moving on. So 2020, quite a year. So February 2020, everyone got impacted, right? Chinese New Year was extended. Why? This COVID things. That's COVID. What could it be? That's an over there problem, like a hurricane or something. That's a Florida problem. An earthquake. That's a California problem. It's over there. Well, guess what? COVID spread. I think you heard about it. Pretty crazy. So things started getting weird, right? In February, right? Then in March, I remember going to my team, hey, look, team, we're going to try working from home. Let's just give it a try next week. And, oh, by the way, we're not going to use IBM Notes anymore. We're going to go to Outlook. It's nothing. And we're going to start using this thing called Teams. It's going to be great. What could go wrong? And VPN connections, don't worry about it. Just click it. It's easy, right? Bottom line is failure is not an option. All right. The world is looking to us. All right. Our products are instrumental in blood gas testing, especially in oxygen. COVID infected people require constant updated oxygen testing to be treated. That's what we're good at. Business went through the roof. They said, how fast can you get more instruments? Can you get them faster? Holy crap. I mean, how are we going to do this? But failure is not an option. Not only are we protecting our own jobs, by getting materials in when we need it, having production lines continue to build, the world's looking at us. I mean, this was a big responsibility. We took this very serious, and it was some sleepless nights, right? So Then March 2020, COVID hit Europe. I have a bunch of suppliers in Italy and Spain. That's where our headquarters is in Spain. Uh, I have quite a few suppliers right in the Bergamo area. That was kind of the first area in Italy that got hit with COVID, and the Italian government was shutting down companies, saying, you are closed as of Friday, and that sort of thing. And that was a challenge, right? So we work very close with them. Okay, we understand you have to close, but when you open, you need to make this first, this second, this third, blah, blah, blah. And that's what we did. I mean, luckily, we've had fantastic relationships with these suppliers. They understand our business, ridiculously loyal to us. And thank God for that. April, COVID hits the US and Mexico and Canada. All suppliers impacted. I just said 83% of my suppliers right in North America. Uh, Canada acted very differently from the US. US acted very differently from Mexico. So things were different in how the governments were reacting and trying to control this pandemic. So it took a lot of interesting times and working with them and keeping us going. So we did it, right? So here's January 2021. Hey, we made it. If we can survive 2020, we can survive anything. Well, surprise. Wrong. January 21 to present, non-stop surprises, supplier no notice decommits on many electrical components, plastic shortages, labor shortages, paper increases, freight increases. Everything was a challenge, not just labor like 2020. 2020, we fought for labor, having to, these suppliers having to shut down. So all we really fought for is labor, being up that top of that list for the priority when they open. 2021, we fought for everything. All of a sudden, I can't get black paint. Jesus, what do you mean I can't get black paint? Black paint, you can't get it. Boxes. I can't get a PEM nut for your sheet metal. What do you mean you can't get a PEM nut? So we were quite a exercise, but we rose to the challenge. So 2021, like I said, COVID was real. Acute care instrument lines went from 5 a day to 18 a day. How are we going to do this? And everyone's from home all of a sudden. And the hemostasis line actually slowed down. That's more of your elective type testing, that sort of thing. So in 2020, our largest lines did slow down, but the acute care lines were going through the roof, 5 a day to 18 a day. How are we going to do this? Other challenges, PPE, can't find any. Well, what's an N95? Right? So didn't know what an N95 was until you actually needed to go find some. Can't get them. Only the government can get those, right? What was important was PPE for our service people who are maintaining our instruments in hospitals and such. So hospitals can no longer supply PPE because nobody can get it. So my group was, all right, go find it. Well, there's none to be found. Well, find it anyways. And we did. We figured it out. I already talked about prioritizing suppliers. And certainly our approach was, let's be open and honest with our suppliers. Look, here's the problem we have. This is our problem. How can we work together to overcome these problems? And that really was the strategy that we did. And I'm just so grateful for the wonderful suppliers I have. They know who they are. I sing their praises, and I'm a lucky man. Understanding their limitations and working around them. Hey, they're only allowed to work 4 hours a day, or 5 hours a day, or 3 hours a week, or 3 days a week. Excuse me. So, all these things we had to address, right? Times, lots of parts. Excuse me. Anyhow, so we were flexible and very grateful for we were able to do what we did. We were struggling as well. Let's face it, right? I mean, we have a manufacturing group that was affected as well. We had COVID waves going through the plant. We had line stoppages. We had restarts, and it was a lot of pushing and pulling. And man, I don't want to live 2020 again, but 2020 was a piece of cake as compared to 2021. 2021, the acute care lines continued at this high pace, 480 instruments a month. Hemostasis lines resumed. All right, now we're able to get back into hospitals and able to install instruments that the customers were screaming for, but we just had no access to those hospitals. If you weren't COVID, you couldn't get in, right? Most suppliers had labor issues. 2021 had lots of labor issues. Everyone came back so strong. There was only so many people to go around. And the Kanban strategy completely fell apart, right? The Kanban strategy is very dependent on the suppliers having finished goods on their shelf. So when you do a scan to release more, they're sitting on the shelf, and here they come. they were so short. I mean, and I'm saying across the board, all of our suppliers were so short on labor, the Kanban shelves were empty. And what do we do? So now we had to revert back to a non-Kanban environment with a team that staff for things going smooth. So it was quite kind of crazy, right? Electrical components, we had to fight for everything. Supplier decommits came so fast and furious. And what do I mean by that is some of your largest chip manufacturers who you had scheduled deliveries on a year in advance. Yeah, we're not shipping. Yeah, there's not enough to go around. Yeah, you're not warp speed, as what we say here in the U.S. Warp speed is if you're not a hospital, hospitals get priorities. Everyone else is after that. Did you try to buy a car in the U.S. and or maybe other places, but try to buy a car last year? There's no inventory. Nobody has cars because they can't make them. They don't have enough computer chips. They don't have enough parts. Whatever. Uh, Interesting. We had to fight for everything, right? And we did. When a manufacturer's telling you for their components, their electric components, use the broker market, who's ever heard of that, right? I mean, the manufacturers are against the broker market. But then I had suppliers, major suppliers in the electrical industry saying, I know you can find some in the broker market. You really have no choice. And that's what we did. So we made the choice. Do we pay more than we should to continue manufacturing, or do we stop manufacturing? So I think the choice was simple. We have to buy what we can buy, get it as fast as you can, secure it, and continue as fast as we can. And that's what we did. Plastics, all of a sudden you couldn't get plastics, right? So we had some natural disasters. We had a hurricane down in Texas, I think it was, that knocked out a major plastics facility, and we couldn't get Delrin. We couldn't get Lexan. Why couldn't we get Lexan? Well, because every business on the planet was putting these Lexan dividers in between people. So, well, I need Lexan to make my components. Well, you can't have it because everyone else is getting it for dividers. It's protection. So just one more challenge, right? I was having to find plastics around the world and supply my major suppliers of plastic molded parts because they couldn't get the plastic, but I was able to find it. And it was interesting. But I used this is our problem approach, reaching out to my 20 something plastic molding suppliers saying, hey, look, I don't have this Delrin or whatever, saying, who does? Because if I can't make what I want to make in this part, we're all going to be affected. So we kind of made my problem our problem, which was reality. That's really what it was. So working together as a team, and it worked, and we had to be creative. And we certainly changed from a why we can't to a why we can environment. So, in the medical industry, you're very, restricted on being flexible. Validations, and data and what the FDA is, what's, certified you. You can't just make changes. And, we didn't make changes. That's not what I'm saying. But we said, okay, we have to make this change. We have to get this validation fast tracked, or we're not going to be able to ship. So we didn't do things as fast as we wanted to, or ideally we would have loved to, but we figured it out. We worked together as a team. Thank God I had those 300 R&D people on the other side of the buildings here, that we have to fast track this validation. We need to do what we need to do. QA is going to be involved here, and they understand the impact if we don't succeed. And that's what we did. Vacations, what's that? Man, we had a meeting with our vice president of operations not that long ago, and he said, you know what? The 8 to 5 days are long gone. My team was starting at 6 a.m. and we're not shutting off till 8, 9 o'clock at night because you had to. The things were changing so fast, and the emergencies, the surprises were happening so fast. You can't shut off. You're going to miss something, and this line will stop or that line will stop. And we did a real good job of not doing that. So the mentality here in Bedford, for sure, right from my vice president of operations, was control what you can control. Stay calm, stay tough. And that's what we did. So, the culture comes from the top. The culture of this company is crazy supportive. It's really is a luxury, and it's I can't say good things, enough good things about this company, but it's do what you need to do. We trust you. You need us, we're here. And control what you can control. And that's what we did. So we finished last year with a growth of 11%. I don't know how. It's a complete blur at this point, but pretty amazing. So 2022 so far, it's not January anymore, but it looks a lot like 2021. We're all tired, right? There is some light at the end of the tunnel. We're seeing some signs of recovery, but we're not there. COVID is not going away anytime soon. You can't plan on it going away soon, right? I mean, it's if you play, hey, it's going to be gone by June. Well, guess what? Maybe it won't, right? We hope it is, but plan for the worst. Stay ahead. Listen to your suppliers. Watch the news. Watch the news. We all watch the news. So what's the key to our success? And I don't want to say mine. I said this is key to our success. Certainly is relationships. I mean, respect and trust from your suppliers is not a gift. Earn it. And that's what I've done the last 19 years with my supplier base. Is I've earned their trust. I never put myself in a position I owe them anything. I said we're business partners. This is business. This isn't personal. This is business. So I'm always firm, be fair, be nice, be ethical, and be available. So be available. If they need something, you got to listen, right? It's a two-way street, right? It's no more pounding your fist. Those days are long gone, right? It's all about, in my strategy, it's all about working together. Yes, we are the customers, but suppliers, not vendors, need support. I hate the word vendors. I've really worked hard in Bedford to not use the word vendors here. And I say vendors, if you want a hot dog outside Fenway Park, there's hot dog vendors out there. So you have vendors for hot dogs. I have suppliers. So know all suppliers as well as possible. Don't wait for issues to get to know them, right? And they need a thank you, reach out to them. And you never know, you may need them in another life, meaning if you were to leave your company and you go to another company and you'd like to be able to call them and say, hey, let's do business again together. And so know them, get to know them. That trust, again, is earned, right? We focus mostly on the top 80% of our spend. So we have 43 suppliers that are 80% out of my 250 or so suppliers. But don't forget the little guys. You need them too, right? I mean, that one little part can stop a line and it can derail everything you work so hard for. So get to know the little guys too, right? When they do better, hey, pick up the phone and tell them, right? We're all busy. This is hard to do. It's hard to do to reach out and say when things are going well, hey, thanks, you guys did a good job, right? Usually you focus on the bad things, and that's where all your time gets sucked up is you're addressing the problems, right? But try to take the time to thank the guys that put in that extra effort. It goes a long way, right? If a supplier needs a kick in the butt, don't put it off, right? Present the facts, stay on scope. I always establish short and long-term get well plans and hold them accountable. So for this short-term goal, here's what you're going to have done by whatever dates, right? Hold them accountable, track it, right? Every week, check in. Are we on track? Eliminate the obstacles. Hey, the documentation isn't that great. Well, we'll fix it. Okay, what do you need from us to fix that? What are the other obstacles? Okay, you need plastic. I'll get you plastic, right? You need engineering support. I'll get you engineering support. Okay, what else? Okay. If they don't meet your short-term goals, maybe they're not committed to your business, right? Tough decision. And I always do say to my suppliers, if I don't fit your business, your model has changed, whatever, it's fine. It's fine. I can leave. I can go elsewhere, but work with me. Work with me and we'll work out a transition, right? To date, only 2 suppliers have done that in 19 years that they've come to me and say, you know what, we've had a shift in our path and your business isn't interesting to us anymore. That's fine. That's fine. Those transitions were the easiest ones because they gave you everything and say, here's all the molding parameters. Here's all their first article reports. Here's first shot, last shot, PM records for all your tools. And here's all the know-how. Those transitions were the easiest, right? Not fun, but it happens. Methods of communication, no rocket science here. Emails, Microsoft Teams, supplier visits. Thank goodness for Microsoft Teams, and Google Meet and Skype, all those things. They able to be kind of face to face with your suppliers and share drawings and that sort of things. Yes, we're still busy. We'd love to get out, but man, but what do you need from me? Get face to face, have a smile, right? I mean, a smile goes a long way, right? We do semi-annual all supplier meetings. We used to have it in person here in Bedford. We have a large stadium type conference room, and that's great. I mean, you have a whole bunch of people, and you're able to speak with them. You're able to walk around, interact. Last year we did it on Teams. We had 180 people on Teams. It was different, but here's an opportunity to share what's going on, right? Here's our market positions. Here's the R&D efforts going out the next 5 years. I have this project coming this year. This is similar to that project, blah, blah, blah. Operations excellence. Here's the newest thing their team's working on. OpsX has become a real important part of our business. How can we get better? Tell us the data. Data. We're a data-driven company. We have to be. We're in a medical device. We're telling doctors and clinicians how to treat people. So data has to, tell us where to head. Ops 5-year planning and volumes and supplier engineering efforts, right? So every supplier, we have a supplier engineering team here of 4, growing to 5 here very shortly. And so they work very close with the suppliers on making changes if they need to and such. So pretty great support worldwide. Weekly automated reporting. This is something we started fairly recently. Again, this isn't, you've never heard of this before, but every Monday, my suppliers get a report that's automatically generated from SAP. Here's what's overdue, and here's what's coming due the next 7 days. It was a simple request with my IT group, and 2 days later, I had it. Supplier portal. Basically, they can help themselves. Here's all the documentation. Everything's online, quality on time. Audit program, 30 audits per year. Now we go dig in, and weekly or bi-weekly recurring meetings with those most important suppliers. So I think we have one slide yet. So in conclusion, I hope you found something useful out of all this craziness. I'm not your typical, professional. I wear a tie. I don't use big words. And whenever if you have any questions, don't use big words, please. I mean, I'm an old baseball guy. But there's no rocket science here, right? Work harder than the other guy. That's what I do. I pride myself and I work hard. I'm up early. I'm in my office by 6 a.m. Believe it or not, it's true. And I live an hour north. And I like coming in the office. I like that camaraderie. I like the being part of. I like being in the middle. I mean, that's who I am. Have more fun than the other guy. I have been known for a practical joke here and there, and it keep things light. Right? What we're doing is important. It can get tense, right? But work together, laugh a little bit, right? And that's what I do. I have fun here. I smile. The Don you're seeing here is the Don you see until 4:30 when I'm like underneath my desk and I can't speak anymore and time to go home before I make any dumb mistakes. But so being good, not necessarily great, in what we do, I think brings greatness. Okay. What do I mean? If you're good at only one aspect of your job and something else of your job you kind of stink at, you're not going to be great. So try to be good at everything, right? Not great. That will make you great. So work on your weaknesses, which is we all have weaknesses, and that old phrase, never be the smartest guy in the room. Well, I never had that problem. But anyhow, so I hope you enjoyed what I had to say. I have lots of good stories and a lot of good wins that I'd love to share. And who knows, feel free to reach out. I'd love to work together.
Okay, thanks, Don. Thanks for sharing that insight. Really energetic presentation. Unfortunately, we're out of time. But if anyone does have any questions, as Don said, you can reach out to him direct. And you can interact with him through the event app as well. But for now, thank you very much, Dom.
Very good. Thanks for having me, gang. Enjoy your day.
Okay, stay tuned. We'll be right back with the next session.